Doctor, you did great. emceeing, you know, you're a good emcee.
Usually I'm weak, and she's making me weak by this feedback, but you can clap for me and her as well. You can take the lead.
Good afternoon. As we are taking to the final panel discussion of today, the last panel of today, which I urge you to follow. It's very interesting. We'll be having a very great person in different expertise of pharmacy. We'll be having 3 panelists. The first one, whom I'm going to introduce to you, he's going to present a very small presentation about practice and professional development of pharmacy specialists. He is a pharmacist, a health system strengthening expert. He's working at the Rwanda Ministry of Health as health system analysis specialist, and he is a treasurer at National Pharmacy Council Board of Directors since 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Darius Uzabachiriho as he's stepping forward, please. He'll be sharing with us on the practice and the professional development of pharmacy specialists. After him, we'll be welcoming 2 other panelists. Sir, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, moderator, for the great introduction. I was wondering whether it's me or someone else. Yeah, I will be taking through a presentation, and you can see we will tackle the aspect of practice and also highlight the reason why we need to go from the bachelor degree to other area of specialization. That's the reason why I'm here, just to make a very short presentation around this one. But I can't say this one without highlighting what makes us a profession. As I'm talking to you, some of you are students, others we are professional. But what makes our pharmacy a profession? This is a profession because we master our skills. We have a complex body of knowledge. That's number 1. We can't be a member of a profession if we don't have knowledge. But also, we are a profession because we are here to serve others. Those are the basics for any single profession. Number 1, knowledge. Number 2, you need, sorry. Okay. Number 1, you need to have knowledge. Number 2, you serve others. Number 3, you serve in a way which is determined. And the way we practice is determined by a code. We have to bear in mind that we need to work under ethics. And of course, as you graduate, you also need to remain competent across the practice. I don't know, something is wrong with this machine. Maybe IT people can help. It is being changing without. So, as I said, what do we mean when we say we are practicing? Some of you are going to say, you are in a practice because you work in a community pharmacy. That's wrong. You are practicing whether you are in a direct role, which involve meeting with patients like in a hospital, or like in a community pharmacy, but also myself in drafting policy, drafting guidelines, I'm comfortable that I'm practicing. Am I right? So, when I say I'm in a direct position like someone in a hospital, I'm practicing. But Dr. Francoise at academia, she is practicing because whatever she's doing is impacting our profession, and she is part of us as a profession. And during this presentation, I will just highlight key aspects to consider as you enter a profession. I can try in another form of lecturing, then you just hear me. At the end, I will send you my presentation. You will have time to read. I said, first of all, to be a profession, you need knowledge. Our registrar is always in the council to bother you with exams. He's there to check whether you have knowledge to be part of us. And it's just as if, don't see him as someone who is bothering you. It's just as if when you escape the eye of Dr. Francoise, we put another C for you to be competent. Because we recognize that competence is the number one aspect of practice, of being a member of a profession. And second one, you need a code. That's the reason why when you go there and you start giving whatever drug to any patient, we are going to remove you from the register. For the sake of your family, for the sake of your generation, don't be removed on the register. It's very hard. So you need to be governed by a code. And as I said, our knowledge are very diverse, and the knowledge is putting us into different area of practice. And when we say practicing, it's not just dealing with drugs. We are going to talk about the other aspect of practicing. And let me tackle the first one, which is most common. And people there are confusing us with dispensers. That is because dispensing is part of our practice. Let me repeat it. Whether there is a drug, where there is a drug, there must be someone qualified. And then where drugs are being dispensed, there should be a pharmacy professional, either a pharmacist or a pharmacist in our case. And once you are dispensing drug, my fellow professionals or prospective professionals, remember that whether you are dispensing a prescription medicine, remember there is an intention of the doctor. Keep in mind that whatever I'm doing, I'm not going against the intention of the prescriber. And the second one, once you are delivering an OTC, an over-the-counter medicine, remember that you assure the quality and the safety. Those are the two principles of dispensing. And the other area, number 3, is compounding. Unfortunately, our professor was saying, we want to go from this routine practice, the compounding, the manufacturing. But though we are adopting new ways of practice, compounding is and shall be part of our profession. Compounding, the mortar and pestle, that's our symbol as a profession. We will always adjust doses. We will always make new formulation for our professional. And the second aspect is the medication review. Some of us, our senior, our fellow professionals, they are always asking us, what are you to do in a hospital? But In a hospital, we should be there to do the review of medicine, prescription review. When you have people with chronic diseases, remember, as a professional who has all aspects of information around the drug, you need to go there and review those complex therapies and give your aspects. That's the reason why the medication review is part of our practice. And another one, once you enter a hospital and you become a senior, you are going to see people coming every day at your office seeking for an information. We are a drug information center. Unfortunately, when a new vaccine is being discovered, you will find people who doesn't even know that the medicine is an RNA vaccine. Or you don't understand what is an RNA vaccine and you say, I'm a pharmacist. You need that information. The second one is the promotion of health and education. We need to promote health. Whether you are in a practice, whoever entering your facility, remember, we need to promote health. We are part of public health. We are part of the Ministry of Health. We are there to promote the health. In that aspect, you will always need to collaborate with others. Don't say, I'm the one who manages medicine. You are part of a team. You are part of a complex system, and you need to play your role in a collaborative manner. And you see, these days, as the disease profile are being changing, people with diabetes, they need more than ever, they need the pharmacist. We are there to provide the management of diseases. And at the end, let me emphasize, these are very key area of practice as defined by the scope of pharmacy practice in Rwanda, and it is available at the National Pharmacy Council website. But our profession, like any single thing, people in England, they say the change is the only constant, meaning our profession also is changing. People are now focused on quality. If you don't issue quality, they want what we call value for money. And the population is now aging. The population is aging, and the workforce, we are changing our aspect from routine, from basic to now pharmaceutical care. And now we are going to robotics. We are going to more change. And we as a pharmacist, we need to go with change. We need to try to work hard to accommodate change. Otherwise, pharmacies will be closed. That's the bad news. If we don't accommodate the change, pharmacists will be replaced by robotics. If an ATM can generate money, it can also generate paracetamol. That's very true. For us to make us relevant, we need to work hard, because we are a dynamic profession. We also need to be dynamic. And I encourage you as young people to read more, to follow the updates, to see what is going on in the world, and you adopt yourself. And the reason why I'm saying this one is because there are many opportunities. There are so many opportunities. Whatever challenge, like a COVID pandemic, it brings opportunity for developing vaccines. And once we develop vaccine, we are the one to develop, because we are the one trained to do so. When there is a challenge, we need to adapt. We need to be just adaptive to the change. And of course, me as an individual can adapt to the change, but we need collaborator. We need to work with university to change the curriculum, to incorporate the aspect of social pharmacy, as you said. We need to incorporate other aspects, how to handle with technology, How can we use the Twitter and the social to promote our profession? And of course, coming back to the topic of my presentation, go to, yes. You can go to number 3 before the end. Yeah, I said, as we reflect today on our changing, on our dynamic profession, we need to work with university to standardize the training so that we are competent. We need to work with professional association to bring more certification. Certification, I mean, for example, I'm a pharmacist, I can be certified into supply chain. We need to certify people maybe with pharmacovigilance skills. As we reflect on the future of our profession, there is a need for more specialty, and also there is a need to accommodate informatics and information system for the technical and the clinical aspect of them to be part of the changing world. And we also need now, maybe it may be my recommendation to the presentation of Dr. Francoise, I think as new medicine such as targeted molecules are being developed, our university need to reflect on how to include the aspect of genetics and the genomic science into the training of pharmacists. As now they are bringing drugs with few side effects because they don't enter the pharmacy called the body, the blood, they just go to the kidney without going any other ways. Once they reach the kidney, it is released. Now, we need to know what is the difference of tissues at kidney with the difference at tissues at the liver. And this is the new things we need to run today as we place ourselves into this changing world. As I conclude, let me just highlight that we as a pharmacist, we are key health professional, and we should remain so. We are key in the healthcare system because, let me say it, because we are the army of medicine. We are the army, isn't it? So we are key. We are the army of medicine, and now for us to remain relevant, we need to focus on the changing world and, of course, embrace the sophisticated information that is coming up. And, of course, let's broaden the scope in prescribing, broaden the scope in family planning, non-communicable diseases. Let's make us relevant. Thank you so much.
Wow. As I told you that this will be a very amazing panel discussion. Thank you, Mr. Darius, for highlighting these important specialties of pharmacists. Not only dispensing, but also compounding and also promoting health. As a pharmacist is a most accessible healthcare provider. You know, whenever a person gets sick, he passes by pharmacy before going to hospital. So this to provide you all these students that you should be equipped with the competencies that are required to provide those cares the patients around you needs from you. Thank you so much, sir. As I told you, we are having other panelists. The second panelist, he is Dr. Nyandwija Baptiste. He's a pharmacist by background. He's a PhD holder. He's a researcher, a lecturer at University of Rwanda. He's a mentor to most of us because, you know, pharmacy and pharmacology is a double trend, if I can say. So we are very privileged to have you, sir. As he going in front, please allow the applause as we're coming here. As we are talking about practice and professional development of pharmacy specialists, we are having 3 specialists in different expertise. The third panelist, he's a pharmacist. He was a vice president of RPSA during his studies. He holds a master's degree in global health with a high-level certificate in leadership, and he's very enthusiast in global health. He's none other than Mr. Geoffrey Bayingana. Please welcome on the panel, as we are going to be sharing the different point of views among these specialists in our pharmacy profession. It's for you guys to get inspiration from 3 great panelists. Yeah, thank you all. So as we are going to discuss some about this practice we need and shaping our vision in different expertise in pharmacy. So as he mentioned, pharmacy is not only dispensing medicines, though it's our law. I would like to start from Mr. Darius asking some question. As a health system analyst working at the Ministry of Health, I want to riff on one study done by WHO in 2011, which estimated that the cost of problem resulting from the use of medicine is equal or greater than the cost of medicine themselves. It's strange to understand that the costs due to resulting in the use of medicine is greater than the cost of medicine itself. This to show that there is drug-related problem that are within the health system, mostly in the developing countries. Darius, as you have been working at hospitals as a pharmacist, what do you think is a leading cause of such drug-related problem, and what could be a role of pharmacists in filling that gap? Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. You said the cost of medicine use is huge. Of course it is. And we need to use that to make us relevant, as I said. But let me say, the use of medicine itself needs skills, and the skills needed are not from us as a pharmacist alone. They are from a network. And if I see the issue in a system, let me say that the system of medicine use is itself complex. That means I may play my role, and the doctor is not playing his rule or her rule, and then we fail. The doctor may play his role, he diagnoses, he prescribes a very good medicine, and you fail to give the right dose as a pharmacist. Meaning, this is a complex situation we are in, and to tackle it, we need to tackle it in a holistic and systematic approach. What do I mean? I mean that there is a role that the community can play. There is a role doctor can play, nurses, allied professional, pharmacists, we can play. At all level, there is a role the council can play by ensuring that I'm competent. There is a role FDA can play to ensure that medicine are of good quality. So, just to mention very few, we need to involve the community. That's number one. We need to involve patients in the aspect of medicine. Let me commend the work we are doing as the Rwanda Pharmaceutical Student Association. We want to see also the Pharmacist Association doing more than you do. We need to see that impacting the community, inspiring, giving them the right information for them to decide. And of course, we need to involve the education sector. We need to revamp our education system by providing quality education and ensuring whoever graduates is of good quality. And of course, there should be the monitoring of use of medicine through research, as mentioned before, and also there should be information accessible to the community. We need to build centers for drug information in Kinyarwanda. If I want to see whether my drug is okay or not, I need to find somewhere to get that information. And of course, policymakers, ministries, and their implementing agents, they need to bring up an effective treatment guideline, not only that, and also monitor their use. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for clarifying the necessity of pharmacists in a hospital setting. As I was saying, we are talking about the different specialties of pharmacy. Allow me to expand to other specialty in pharmacy. But I'm going to address this question to the right person who help in shaping the future professionals. Dr. Nyandwi. Basically, in the community, when we say a pharmacist, they think community pharmacists. What are other specialties that you might clarify about those specialty and helping the future professional to get to know the role, application, and the necessity of those specialties in Rwanda? Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. This is an interesting question. When you ask people, they only know community pharmacists because they meet them on a daily life. But when they go to the hospital, when they see pharmacists, they call doctor. They don't know if there is a pharmacist in the hospital. At least this is one step, because the community knows that there is a community pharmacist. You can go anywhere and you have access to the pharmacist for any help about the drugs. But as pharmacy students and pharmacists, it is not only community pharmacists, but also we have other areas. Darius is a witness. Geoffrey is here to confirm, and some other health professionals. I have a senior pharmacist here. He's dealing with medical devices. That's another area. So it is a general conception, but there is a wide range of specializations. If you look at the establishment of RMS, especially for supply chain management, it's all about supply of medicine. And a lot of pharmacists are working there. If we go to Rwanda FDA, regulations, inspection, quality control of medicine, assessment and registration of medicine, all those are done by pharmacists. If you go to the hospitals, there are some clinical pharmacists, although they are still few, but they are there in some hospitals, like King Faisal, Kanombe, and Seashika. It is very wide. But as you are aware, we are moving from the routine to the modern approach. You know, we are planning to have pharmaceutical industries. We need pharmacists to work there. Soon we'll have industry manufacturing vaccines for COVID, malaria, and so on. We need pharmacists. But those pharmacists need to have advanced knowledge in pharmacogenetics. They talked about pharmacogenomics because they apply advanced biotechnology technology. So you need to have advanced knowledge. In academia, you know, they are pharmacists. So you can choose your orientation as students. Of course, for pharmacy professionals, we choose or we go where we get money. So you can be, you can want to do a profession in the area, let's say in the clinical pharmacy. But when you hear an offer from supply chain, like Geoffrey at Chemonix, you go there. Has been working with Babir. You know Babir? And M-Farm, and he left for a supply chain. So Darius worked in a hospital, at Pharmacy Council, and at the end he's specialist. So it depends on the knowledge you have, as he said, the skills and the competence. But to be short, if we look forward, you need to get interest in molecular sciences. In molecular sciences. If you want to be a pharmacist with strong background in research, you need to think about molecular sciences, biotechnology, and so on. We are having different stakeholders aiming at improving those concepts. So there will be so many trainings. In addition to the quality control, we have supply chain, we may have drug design and development, we may have industrial pharmacy. The HOD knows about it, so we are planning to expand our profession. Later or soon, you will see good news to expand our profession. But if this time they say pharmacist is about community pharmacists, that's all they know, but they will know more. We have to work and show them that we can do other things than selling drugs. So thank you. I don't know if I tackled well the question, but I spoke broadly, in a broad sense. I didn't be specific. If you are satisfied, I can hand the mic.
Yeah, thank you very much. All I wanted is inspiration from you. And you see, you can see the audience were clapping because we were tackling to their interests. Thank you so much. Going to Mr. Baingara, Geoffrey. He was working at Babil. Do you know Babil? Anyone know Babil? Okay, he was working there. Maybe we get time to know it. And currently he's working as strategic advisor to CEO of Rwanda Medical Supply. He's working actually in the supply chain. Geoffrey, as a pharmacist, what is the role of pharmacists in supply chain? Because this stuff of logistics requires many experts. What really is the role of pharmacists in such critical and essential part of country's health system, which ensure that the medicines and medical products are always available for use?
Thank you very much. Let me start by making a little bit of corrections. You were right to say I was the vice president at Rwanda Pharmaceutical Students Association for 2 consecutive mandates, 2013, 2014, 2014, 2015. But I was also the president, the 2016 mandate. We can never forget to say that. I remember Dr. Francois used to make fun of me. I was the first person to pin a poster for campaigning, and my slogan was, "For pharmacy, I swear." That slogan has always moved with me up now, "For pharmacy, I swear." And another thing I want to put on record is that, and also actually to thank the organizers of this event, also to thank you for inviting me here once again. I have attended this IPS starting from the 4th up to this 11th. I have been in every single one. And more so, I have attended as a student participant, then as an organizer, as an MC, as a moderator, as a speaker, as every role that exists. So you can understand how happy I am to be here on this panel and also sharing a panel with these great gentlemen. He was my lecturer. He was my mentor when he was in the National Pharmacy Council. And for that matter, therefore, I will not talk much of science. I'm not a bad scientist, but I'm not the best scientist in the room. We have doctors here. So I'll talk a little less about science, really. And to kind of reignite this discussion, kind of bring out what a pharmacist can do, I think science is good, but science should prepare us to serve our community. Now, coming back to your question, also to clarify, when I worked with Babil might not be something very known, but that was digital health, and I worked there as a pharmacist. That thing that Dr. Innocent was talking about here, of validating prescriptions, that was my role, and we did that digitally. So my role was to validate prescriptions that are done in the digital platforms that they were doing. Then after that, I went to M-Pharma, which is pharmaceutical business. So when they talk about the value for money, return on investment and all that, I completely understand that. And then I switched to supply chain. So coming to the role of a pharmacist in healthcare supply chain, honestly, health supply chain is a science. It's completely different from supply chain that people know. I'll answer this question through stories. I'll try to use stories on this panel. Recently, I was in a workshop. I think I met Francoise, my colleague pharmacist. She was in a different workshop and it was different. So one person came to me. I will not specify where that person was coming from, and said, you come from Rwanda Medical Supply? Yes. They said, so Rwanda Medical Supply, you are still a young company, and I think for you to become successful, you should make a study tour to Bradirwa. I was like, what the hell? Yes, Bradirwa does supply chain. Bradirwa is a logistic, they do logistics and supply chain for their products. But to be honest, health supply chain and supply chain for beverages is totally different. It's totally different. And you agree with me. And that's what I have told all the students who have been to our institution for their internship. When a person comes to drink beer and they don't find brand X, they don't find Amstel, they'll drink Mitzingi and they'll go home drunk and high and happy, right? But if a person comes to this facility and doesn't find amoxicillin, by all means, they cannot take paracetamol, right? Because it is specific. So health supply chain is just as simple as that. And that's why you need a pharmacist. That's why you need a person who understands why do I need to have this product. And now this is the problem. And these are some of the things that we have met along the time. A person comes and says, I need product X. Product X has formulations in 250 and 500. But these are 2 SKUs. So these are 2 stock keeping units. So if you don't have 500, then it is an alarm in the country. But as a pharmacist, you are able to say, even if you don't have 500, you can still use 250 and double the dose. Okay? So that's where a pharmacist now comes in. And I have seen this becoming a problem. Another thing is also identifying, unfortunately we're online. I was going to give you this example. So the other day, a person comes and orders. We need, these such as polyamide. So they order, then the shipment comes, and then another order comes, we need nylon. Then it is havoc. You don't understand that nylon is the same as polyamide. So such things, these are small things that I might bring out, but these are very crucial because the delay you will take in trying to understand, trying to analyze, that delay is going to affect the end user, and the end user is the patient. So the decision that you have to take, the decision that can be taken in this whole process is faster with a pharmacist than any other person. So the other day, a person argued with me that any person who is a good procurement person, is good at logistics, can manage health supply chain. I said, fine, I'll give you one product for you to manage it. Because pharmacy, when you say pharmacy is a science, people will not understand. It's not an art. If you make one mistake, the other day, you will see either a stock out or you will see an overstock, which will lead, and all that will lead to the issue with return on investment. The value for money now here comes in. Yeah? I can literally say that when you talk of the role of a pharmacist in supply chain is one of the fields of pharmacy that ties a lot of capital with it. Yeah? It ties a lot of capital in it, some of which you might not see, especially with donor funding and all that, but there is a lot of money involved in supply chain. So if you are there without the body of knowledge that can help you put this clearly, be able to explain, to articulate the pharmacoeconomics involved, you'll end up doing this supply chain and you cannot put it to, you cannot come up with better results. The other day we had a long discussion about oxytocin. We have oxytocin that is recommended by WHO, and we have oxytocin that is recommended by donors. There is oxytocin that is kept in room temperature, and there's oxytocin that can only be kept under low temperatures, that you need specialized refrigerators for that. When you look at it in a small perspective like this, you might say, I have a fridge, I can keep this oxytocin and it's okay, as long as it's what is available. But you forget that supply chain does not end in one point. You'll need to have this oxytocin transported from here to Nyagatare, from here to Buzinganjwiri, everywhere. It has to reach that end point. So for you to have specialized cooling system that will transport this oxytocin from here to that end, you understand that you are not going to incur extra cost. And this extra cost will tie into the entire cost of that product. So honestly, the economics behind a product in supply chain is very important and can only be managed by a specialized and a pharmacist who has taken extra learning to understand the value for money tied in a product. I can explain it in those 3 stories. Thank you.
Oh. It's so interesting to understand the role of pharmacists in such critical parts of supply chain. Thank you for this insight you share with us. Going back to Mr. Darius, before we accept the question from the audience, As an expert working in the regulatory body, or rather a National Pharmacy Council, how much is the necessity of continuous maintenance of competence for pharmacists? And how is NPC regulating that, making sure that pharmacists is competent throughout his expertise?
Thank you so much. Just before answering this one, let me just make a disclaimer. There is a chairperson and there is a registrar in the room. If I answer it long, please compliment me. And I used to be the registrar of the Pharmacy Council 4 years ago. And one thing we put much emphasis on is the competence, because we know the reason. In Kinyarwanda they say, "Abomwaga tukisha bose." Imagine you are standing in your pharmacy in Kayonza and the Minister of Health is coming to your pharmacy to ask for maybe clarithromycin, and you don't know how to adjust the dose for an adult. The Minister of Health is going back in his office to say, those people, they are doing nothing. Those people. When he or she is saying those people, he's saying even our professor that he doesn't know nothing. When they call us conflare and concern, it's for a reason. It's because, as I started my presentation, because we share knowledge. If we don't share the same knowledge, we are not part of the same profession. And knowledge is evolving. My modules at university back in 27, they are totally different from the modules you are now studying. The perspective of practice is changing. I mean, we need to continue studying. She's mentioned a lifelong learner. That's a vocabulary I heard in my second year of pharmacy from our DG Rwanda FDA, from what we call 7-star. Now they say 8-star. Meaning, if you don't have knowledge, all of us, not myself, all of us as members of this prestigious profession, if we don't have knowledge, we are distracting our profession. That's the reason why they gave us a monopoly to practice this profession. It's because we have that set of knowledge, and they say, we can trust you to deal with our life. Geoffrey was saying that if you don't do it well, you end up with a stock out or an overstock. But when I say stock out, you understand a stock out of a mustard, as you said, no. The stock out is coupled with something else, which is not money, which is the life of the people we serve. That means if you are irrelevant in your warehouse and you don't procure well, at the end I will be standing in my pharmacy and I don't have the medicine. Because of a conflare in a supply chain who is not eligible to practice, there is a stock out in a hospital, and when there is a stock out, there is a death. You see the reason why we need knowledge. And when there is another error from maybe another health profession, I don't want to mention any profession here, when there is an error from a fellow health professional, and we are at the end of the health system, if you don't know. it's whatever effort is invested in the health system, it ends up in the pharmacy to get a medicine. If I diagnose it very well and the pharmacist is not able to detect that there is an interaction, people will be fainting in our emergency services because of people who are not able to discern, to identify a drug-related problem. Let me just conclude that knowledge is key, and we need to stay competent. And when Mr. Jean Damascene is sending you email, please make sure you have 10 credits. It is not just for credits. It's just to make sure that we are comfortable with our registrant, that they are practicing, they can understand the reason why they are practicing, they can understand the new perspective, the new medicine, the changing word, the changing profession of ours. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Let me take this time for the audience. Anyone who have any question to ask? There's experts, yes. Anyone can help to distribute the mic. We'll be getting 3 questions from Mr. President. The person right in the back. Another one. 3%.
Thank you. By the names of Olivier Akizimana, I'm the current Vice President of Rwanda Pharmaceutical Student Association. My question goes to Dr. Jean-Baptiste. He brought a challenging choice, either choosing money or developing profession. Here, I think in the room of youth, it's a little bit controversial, choosing money and developing a profession. I want a little more clarification. Is it a problem of specializing in pharmacy profession that brings either choosing developing profession or taking money as not specializing? To be more clear about this, is it a problem of specializing? It is a problem of specialized people who are not bringing more opportunity, or it is a limited number of opportunities to specialized people? I don't think I'm clear about this.
Could we take them?
We take them at once. Okay. Priscilla here.
Thank you. When it becomes to pharmacy profession, it becomes an interesting discussion. That's why Jeff brings something about using examples to address his things, and I think I'm going to copy him. When we were at internship in Seashibe, we just asked the chief pharmacist, why are here 3 pharmacists only with more than 6 departments, which each department need a pharmacist? Is it a problem that there is a few pharmacists to work? What is the problem? And by answering, he just said he doesn't think that it's a lack of pharmacists, but it's a lack of people to understand that pharmacist is needed in hospitals at different settings. Because when we're looking at what he's doing a lot of work about management, about purchasing order, and the other things that are not related to clinical, which may be helping in the hospital. And we tried to ask him about what can we do, what is the solution to that? Because when you have 6 departments and you have only 3 pharmacists and all of them, no one involved in clinical settings, it's a problem. He just answered, it's not a problem of few pharmacists, and it's not a problem of money. Although many people say that when you go to the the leadership of the hospital, they say the budget, we can't afford more than 3 pharmacists or 4. So he said that it's not that problem, but it's a problem that people doesn't understand that a pharmacist is needed. He suggests that Seashibe to run, maybe it may need 12 pharmacists. So the role of us, Darius mentioned that pharmacist association have to do more than they do. And he suggested as that associations, RCPU, and maybe we are lucky that we have many people from council, they have to emphasize on that. And when the people, the policy makers or decision makers understand that pharmacists are needed in hospitals, it may eliminate different errors. That was one. I just wanted that you can comment, anyone on the panel, involving the chair. Also, I think we cannot discuss this without involving him. The second one I didn't understand, it's a curiosity question, just a curiosity. We have discussed it in the class. What is the need of Pharmacy Council to reassess pharmacists who are graduating from University of Rwanda, a public university with the same teachers as that one who are assessing, the only one. So for us, we understand that as if you don't trust University of Rwanda. Because if they give a bachelor degree and you have to assess again, you are not sure about what university is giving to them. So can you clarify?
Please, on the point, and only one question, please.
Yes, I'm Gracien. So my question mainly goes to Dr. Jean-Baptiste because he's a member of the faculty. So I am asking about our degree. We know that in many countries there is a program, the Doctor of Pharmacy, the PharmD program. So I wanted to ask why in Rwanda we don't have the PharmD program and when will it come? So that was. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Due to time, let's take these questions. Very sorry for the rest of you. I can see many hands raising, but hopefully.
Thank you. You asked about choosing money or a profession. Actually, you will find money everywhere. Yes. So if you focus on your profession, you master it, of course you will get paid for it. There are some cases where a pharmacy graduate find a job, let's say 400K a month. And after 3 months, he or she got another offer of 450K, and he leave. Huh? Is that a professional practice? So you will be keeping moving, and you will become unstable in your profession. So if you focus on the profession, of course you will get paid. With experience, with knowledge, with your performance, you can get upgraded. That's the simple answer. The second from Alain about the number of pharmacists in hospitals, it is a challenge. If you look at their organogram, you can find that they are allowed to hire 12 pharmacists, depending, at least 12, for teaching hospitals and referral, and maybe 8 for provincial. I don't remember where. But yet you don't know what is the problem. The managers will say the budget. The system will say the shortage of pharmacists. The pharmacist will say we are not considered in the setting. So it is a complex system. But maybe Darius will complement. If everyone or each stakeholder focus on his part or on the role to play, those issues will be solved. You cannot say that you cannot pay 12 pharmacists while you have, let's say, 500 staff. You have 200 doctors, you have nurses, you have different health professionals. But you limit on the number of doctors per patient, numbers of nurses per patient, midwife. Of course, you have priorities. But you need to remind them that at the end, they will need to get medicine. And if there is no one to take care of those logistics or dispensing, let's say for the availability of drugs, they only consider supply chain. They know if the drugs are available, that's enough, but it's not enough. Drugs are available, but they can be given in the wrong way, wrong dosage, wrong to the wrong patient, for wrong indication. So there should be pharmacists to solve all those issues. So it is still a complex case, but we hope that it will be solved by the time. Time will solve, or time will put the end to those issues. But I want to challenge you. If you graduate, let's say 60 pharmacists in 1 year, 3 months after graduation, all have job. If the hospitals, they are, let's say 48, if all hospitals want to hire at least one more pharmacist, they will not find a pharmacist. We still have some institutions without pharmacists because many of them went to Rwanda FDA as a new institution. So also the number, the shortage of pharmacists is a factor. So if we think about the complex situation, we need to think about the availability of pharmacists. Yes, if they say we need pharmacists in the hospitals, they will not miss them. They will find them. But they will leave other jobs. So what do you think? Darius.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. That's really a great question, and it triggers most of us to reflect. Why do we have few pharmacists in the hospital? Let me add, why do we have few pharmacists in other areas of practice? First of all, I will share my insight using my experience in a hospital. Just when you enter a hospital, a normal one like a district hospital, sometimes you are not confident. You are not confident enough to enter an internal medicine department and decide, don't use metformin, use glibenclamide. Once you graduate as a fresh grad, you are not confident because you have been taught so. When they sent us into clinical placement, today follow us. That's number one. And I want to make a small recommendation to the owner of this building that people in training need to be followed up. They will be followed up. If you enter a hospital and you find a clinical pharmacist there, now you're going to go there because you are with your senior to help you once you make a very bad assumption. First of all, as Dr. Batista said, we need to tackle this issue in a systematic approach, means we need to start from the education up to the practice. We need to revamp the way our pharmacists are being taught. Myself, I had fear to enter an emergency room because I see my contribution is very little. That's number one. If now you go in a complex hospital like Sehashi, I don't want to add the other one. Just if you enter in a complex hospital, now you hold the Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy. You go in emergency department. The treating doctor is a professor of emergency medicine. And he or she is giving an advice to give this drug. Who are you to challenge a professor? Who are you? Just to say to the owner of this building, to our academic institution, if we compare our profession to an army, let me compare it to an army, we need also generals. We need generals in our hospitals to train second lieutenant to become captain. Yet, if you have a technician in a hospital, you will have time to go into the ward round. You remember, instead of facing a stock out in a hospital, you prefer to face irrational use of medicine. When you are in a hospital and you are alone, first of all, you will deal with the stock out. You will deal with the stock to ensure that a drug is available. Now we need also to go to the other point. Once it is available, how is it used? Again, to the Vice Dean here present, do we have evidences that drugs are being irrationally used? We don't. We have data. We are with regulators. We are not conducting any single research to say these people are dying because they don't have someone to take care of these side effects. Once you publish 1, 2, 3 papers in Lancet stating that we need people to take care of adverse drug events in a hospital, policymaker, you make a policy brief, they are going to see this is a challenge. Now, if a system is standing somewhere from the basis of physics, if something is static, it can't move if it doesn't face a mover. That's the basis of physics. And we have to be the mover, playing our roles. In your position in a community pharmacist, how do you generate evidence that prescriptions are not well written? Start like that in your position in a community. Go there in a regulatory, go in a hospital and you show that drugs are not well stored because there is no one in a health center to take care of how drugs are to be stored. Mr. Geoffrey is reluctant to select a drug that is to be kept into the cold chain because it's not sure that if the drug reaches the end, at the end of the pipeline, he's not sure if it will be well stored. Just simple like that. So, for us as academician and researcher, we need to generate evidence. As in the agenda of Africa, we want to be a society which is a wisdom-based society. Academicians generate evidence. You people in the hospital, increase your knowledge, try to challenge people. You have been together at the back one in the same class. They go through their specific training 5 years. You go through the same training 5 years. They know diseases and we know medicine. That's simple like that. They are expert in disease and they have information on drugs. We are expert on medicine and we have information on disease. Complement each other. We shall win and we shall raise our profession high. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darius. We sat together in the classroom many years ago. And I know how he is competent. So, Doctor of Pharmacy, when we need to come, Doctor of Pharmacy is a qualification, if I'm not mistaken. At NPC, we had a discussion like 4 years ago, and we adopted to call pharmacy graduates doctors, but it is stacked. That's an issue. But Doctor of Pharmacy it has some curriculum implications, regulations, regulatory like NPC or the HEC can qualify the program as Doctor of Pharmacy or PharmD program. But for me, there is no difference. PharmD, BPharm, the importance is the knowledge and the practice. If you are called Doctor of Pharmacy, PharmD, if you are called doctor like in Kenya or anywhere, or you are called BPharm, pharmacist, I think no difference. Maybe my seniors will compliment. If you go to the market with a Kenyan pharmacist, you see that same competence, so you can find yourself in the practice with him or her. So it's all about the name. And maybe if NPC decide that in Rwanda pharmacists or pharmacy graduates be called doctors, it can happen. I know there was some discussion about it. But about the curriculum or trainings, I'm not expert in that. My HOD will help me. And there is one question about the need for NPC to assess the pharmacy graduate. Registrar can help.
The registrar can answer the question. Maybe we will compliment by the privilege we have to be to sit here. We will compliment maybe.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to thank you for being here as a registrar for the National Pharmacy Council. Lend me the mic. I think it is. Let me answer the question about the post-knowledge assessment of pharmacy graduates. Being here or online, first of all, we need to understand what is a law. Who can define a law? A law is a set of rules, being written or unwritten, guiding a given society, a group of individuals, and it is enforced by a given authority for a given period. Referring to the law number 45/2012, Article 20, It is a law establishing the National Pharmacy Council, especially in its Article 20. It is stipulating that the council, the National Council Board, shall put in place a knowledge assessment system. The organ is responsible for conducting such assessment and monitor its conduct. The internal rules and the regulations of the council shall determine the modalities for conducting the assessment. Paragraph number 3. Each pharmacist must obtain the minimum score as determined by the National Council Board for him or her to be duly authorized to practice the pharmacy profession. If I come back to courts, a judge cannot be a prosecutor at the same time. If the institution is instructing students, there might be an authority to assess the quality of education. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me add something, very little. Let me ask the president of the association, why that fear? If you are competent, why that fear? It's as if you trust your university, they are giving you what we want. Your curriculum has been approved by the council. We know what you are studying. And we are asking what you are studying. Why that fear? Why do you want to join people with certified competence without being certified? It's an addition to your CV to be certified by a competent authority, as the regulator was saying. I'm sure that regulator, they don't have many friends. Regulator, they don't have many friends because they are doing something very critical. But I want to add, their rule is the one which is giving us that monopoly. If they stop asking people license to practice the pharmacy, you will see mechanical engineering in the pharmacy. Because we have a social contract with the society, we are competent. If you are not, please don't come in our profession. So don't be afraid. Exam, they are very easy. 1,000 people have passed. Why don't you pass? As the treasurer, let me give you something very crucial. You know, when you pay 20,000 for an exam, we invest 80,000 to prepare, to correct, to analyze and report the exam. We invest 80,000 for your 20,000. Just because we emphasize on the quality of the skills you have, because the skills is what make us member of the profession. If we can even remove the roles, accountants are being certified to be CPA, ACCA, voluntarily. And for us, we have a role to be certified, and we want to reflect that. If we engage into this similar discussion, we are going to tell it's our profession. Let's build it in an international way. And exams are common everywhere on this world. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can add something. When this thing started, we had issues. Pharmacy graduates from outside Rwanda, India, China, Kenya, and so on, they have different trainings. And at the moment, there was Mount Kenya also, and the University of Rwanda. So there was discussion to waive pharmacy students from UR, but it was not easy because graduates need to be taken or treated in the same way. Of course, you sat for exam after the internship at the university, but also you need to be assessed as others who are from outside, who are from other institutions. So I think there should be no complaint. And the one thing is that you are lucky. You get tested before you get your degree. It is not the case for others. Because we trust you, you will win. So if you graduate, few months later you sit for exam. So we don't wait for degrees and so on, but you have to register after getting your degree. So Darius explained more. There is no way to escape the examination. You will sit for your exam, and you will sit for NPC exam. So be prepared for 2 exams.
Okay. Let me add something. You know, I kept quiet here as I saw these 2 gentlemen here, 2 gentlemen trying to answer the question, and including the registrar of the council. You see the problem with us here in Rwanda, I think because we are still few pharmacists, the same pharmacist will be in the council, the same pharmacist will be the lecturer, or will be the same pharmacist working somewhere in a policy formulation organ like my colleague here, Darius. So there is that intertwining of things. And now, when you ask such a question and we are trying to answer it, it gets difficult to separate yourself from being a lecturer or being a member of the board of the National Pharmacy Council. You understand? So it gets difficult somehow, but I understand them. At least I'm the only person who is new to here. I can be the judge. But here is the thing. He read the law, and this law is not peculiar to Rwanda. Every other country has this kind of a law that shows how pharmacists are enacted into the profession. And other professions, it's not only the pharmacy profession. And like Darius clearly said, that's the beauty. That's the pride of being a pharmacist, because it's one of the professions that are highly regulated to that extent. But when this thing started, I was the most notorious person to these people. By then, I was the president as he is. This thing of assessment started 2015, 2016. That was the first assessment. Yeah? My question was one. I think that question up to now cannot be answered. Why did they start with people who graduated in 2015 and did not assess the rest who graduated before? I'm still answering. You see, everyone who is trying to answer this was not assessed. That's not my problem. I'm not, you understand? And allow me to complete my point. I'm not undermining their capacity, but these are things that remain unanswered. 2, in other countries where these ones are done, where such a thing is done, the 5th year, the final year, is handed over to the professional body. Then the professional body takes you through an internship. You do a pre-internship assessment to make sure that you are even qualifying for that internship. Then they take you through that training. So they have trained you for a whole year. Then they again assess you to authorize you to go into the profession. What we are doing today shouldn't be a problem. The problem is that we are doing internship in the hands of the University of Rwanda. I don't know how the arrangement has been this year, but during our times, you do a full year, you are not at the university. You are at the internship site, but you are paying tuition to the university. You understand? Now, because most of you are on government scholarship, you don't understand the pain in that. you are paying someone who is not teaching you then. I would rather pay this money to the profession than the professional body. Then the professional body does the internship, then does the assessment for what they have taught me. But today, you are being assessed for something or by someone who did not teach you what they're assessing you for. Yeah? Now, we started this discussion when we still had Professor Cotton, and we were looking at how can we hand over students from University of Rwanda to National Pharmacy Council. And then there was some discussion, I don't know whether it is still ongoing or whether that stopped. But these are things that are there. But in the actual sense, the assessment itself is not bad because it's a one spot check. You have done pharmacognosy in second year, or botany, pharmacognosy, pharmacology, pharmaceutical chemistry. In different years, you have done economics. Now, what if you forgot that in the second year? So this is a one-stop check that covers everything to make sure that you are really fit for the profession. Like I told you, when you come out, we don't know where you're going. We don't know whether you're going in a clinical setting, whether you're going in supply chain, whether you're going in business, whether you're going in industry. We don't know where you're going. So we need to do a one-spot check to make sure that wherever you go, you have the basic competence under which you can professional development that we have been talking here. Okay? So the assessment shouldn't be a problem. But the way it is brought to you or the face that brings it to you is what remains those questions. But the people who in the council are the people who teach us at the university. That doesn't matter. It is the framework under which they are assessing you. At the university, I'm sure Dr. Francoise will not come in the biostatistics exam and ask you pharmacology. It is specific. But here, she will come, if it is in the National Pharmacy Council, then she'll get questions that are preparing you for the profession, which is a one-spot check, and then we'll answer that. I will beg that Damasen doesn't answer that question, okay? So let me add on another important point. My colleagues, and I understand when we talk to students, it's not many years when I was a student. I know the concerns we normally get, especially when we are about to go out. Things to do with where is money, where is what. I can tell you the truth. There is no good money. How much is good money? How much is good money? There is no good money. You'll be here, like he told you, you get 400, you get 600, you get 800. It will remain not enough, not enough. But the key is wherever you are, whenever you add to your skills. Today, if we say a pharmacist is an 8-star personnel, all these 8 stars when you come out of the pharmacy school, you have bit by bit of everything. You need to certify everything. If you're in supply chain, do you have a specialized training for supply chain? If you're in digital health, do you have specialized training for digital health? If you are in leadership, do you have some leadership skills that you are gaining? So whenever you are adding that, my friend, nothing comes for free. Money will also come. But again, remember our profession is not always about money. It's about the passion you are having for the patient. It's about the passion you're having for this noble cause. Yeah? Otherwise, there is no money that is enough. There will never be that payment that you feel is enough for you. No, he was saying that I left here, I left there, but at least wherever I was, people said, Jeffrey is working for that digital company. Hey, that's good money. Then when I went to him, that's good. But you still live, you can live. And whenever you are living, it's neither that you are living because of money. You can live because you see where you can make a greater impact. You can see where your passion really belongs, where your profession can best suit to serve the most out of it. So if you worked in an institution where you can only serve people in Kigali, for example, you are working in a community pharmacy, and that community pharmacy can only serve people in Chimirongo. And then you get a job that you are going to manage supply chain that is going to serve people in the entire country, and that's a greater impact. Why wouldn't you go if you have passion for clients, really? So it shouldn't be about money, but what I tell you is that once you develop your profession very well, also you can never irrigate a plant and you don't expect fruits. Thank you very much.
I want to conclude on one issue. Just pray that our curriculum review pass and all of those issues will be addressed. NPC be prepared to hold the internship. So it is considered, it is planned that students will spend 4 years at the university and then graduate. And if they want to continue postgraduate and so on, they go. And if they want to practice, they go for internship and NPC. That's the good news. So you have to pray.
Very much. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy that I started this thing. We stormed Dr. Cotton's office and saying, we don't want to pay money to the University of Rwanda. Let's go somewhere. These people will give us internship, and thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity to explain why you were brought back to university. Our first intention was not to handle internship, but we faced a lot of challenges where the Ministry of Health was not able to support your internship. It was not to put the weight on your shoulders. We fight and we discuss with a lot of people to know how, if we release you after 4 years, who will manage your internship? And the NPC was not yet able to do so. And we decided to take you back to university in order to manage you. And if he's saying they should pay the money to NPC, remember, the university supervises your internship. We follow you wherever you are, and we continue supporting you. I don't know if really the money you paid to university was a big issue, because what the NPC should do, we do the same. It is not really the wasted money if you pay. Maybe because you were living outside the university, you shouldn't pay the hostels, but otherwise everything was under university authorities. And this money shouldn't be a problem that should be really discussed. Because we did everything for you while you were in internship. We supervised you, we gave you all the advices, we managed your memoir, and now we have even other modules which are delivered during the 5th year. But it was not our first intention really to retain students. It was because of arrangements which were not really in place at that time. And changing the program, it's not something easy. We need an approval. And this was decided in consultation with the Ministry of Health, University, and the Ministry of Education. Maybe you were not informed on what were happening, but it was not really an easy decision to take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I need to stand up. Yeah, thank you. I think, Geoffrey, I'm not a lawyer or good at laws, but I think that a law starts being implemented by the time it's set. That's what I think.
Yeah, it is. The law is not retrospective. For sure, people who graduated before that law, there is no ground for exam. There is no ground. That's simple, very clear. And for the internship, the doctor was mentioning something very critical. It's a very big change, and managing a change, it's a process. Just simple, and we have seen the change initiated in 2011. I'm the victim of that internship, by the way. That was in 2011, and we were on the graduation list. They removed us. But it's a change, and a good change, that was taught by our elders, by our senior, and they brought something. We are seeing the fruits right now. So we are changing for the better. Let's initiate the other changes.
Thank you. So I was going, yeah, Jeff, I'm on your side at some point. So I'm going to ask this question as a person who passed for the first time for the NPC exam. Don't think that I'm claiming because I did that exam several times. No, I passed on the very first time. And number two, I'm going to ask as a student who paid the university fees on myself, for myself, if I can say. So I don't think, in my fifth year, I paid 2 million. And as Jeff was asking, the University of Rwanda to give students to NPC in the last year, just because they are the ones who will give us the assessment, just to help us, because being asked by a lecturer who didn't taught you is a bit difficult. So that's a good thing. Thank you, Doctor, for ensuring us that you are in the process of giving NPC the part of training students in the last year. But I wonder, another thing that should be, yeah. Another issue that I need to raise, let me say like a person who did that exam. Actually, students, they are not, it's not because they are not competitive or competent, no, they really are. But I believe that a lecturer, the way he treats you, the way he behaves, the way plays a big role when you're being asked or when you're being lectured, if I can say. So people who did the NPC exam before, they had that fear, the fear that Darius was saying. And it's really, don't you have fear like students? Colleagues, tell me, sincerely. You do have that fear, because I think it's a transgenerational thing, because the first people who were asking in NPC, they brought a lot of fear to students. So they're like for example, in my class, people who had A's, B's, they are the ones who didn't succeed the NPC exam. Yeah, I mean, which means that people who were competent
for addressing all our concerns about the practice and professional development of pharmacy specialists. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause again to them. I think this is the pan of the day. So it was very interesting as we are coming to close our day. Thank you very much for being with us up to this time. For more information about tomorrow we're starting the session at 10 top after Umuganda social work. They should be, so they start planning to come here at 10 so that at 11 we'll be starting our session and yeah, that's about tomorrow. And we have great session. We will have session on sexual reproductive health. We'll have session on NCDs. We will be having different speakers who went beyond pharmacy field. So it will be very, very interesting. We have the game to play from Urukundo, board game. So please don't miss tomorrow. Have a great night and see you tomorrow.
And thank you for being a really such great audience. Thank you so much. That's it. And thank you, Nseko, for